Well, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about recently. People have asked, and quite frankly, I get some flack. I get some flack because I never leave links or part numbers or anything for some of the stuff that I've used in some of the mods on the trucks, both the Tacoma up there and the Tundra back here. And you know, you guys are right. I'm lacking. I don't usually give that information. I don't know why. I guess I'm in a hurry. But today, I wanted to correct that a little bit. There's a couple of things that I've used that are very, very handy. In many, almost all of the mods that I've done between the two trucks, the Tundra and the Tacoma. And I thought I'd show you guys today because they really are invaluable when you're doing stuff with these trucks. So if you're a budding modder and you want to get to doing some stuff, these are a couple things that you have to have. And I'll show you right over here what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you where I've used these things. But first are trim tools. You got to have some trim tools, man. These things come in handy all over the place, depending on what it is that you're doing. Double-sided tape. This stuff today has almost replaced the need for using screws, nuts, bolts, all that kind of stuff. This stuff is at such a point in its advancement, I guess, that it's invaluable for some of the things that you might want to consider doing in modding. And the other thing is Goo Gone. Goo Gone is fantastic. I use that product when I want to take off the badges and stuff on the truck, because it doesn't fail. Whenever you take off these things, like these badges right here, you're going to have some adhesive and junk left on the back that you're going to have to get off. Now, people suggest all kinds of things, you know, alcohol, wax, gasoline, you name it. But Goo Gone works really well. You put it on, you let it soak in, and you can get the adhesive off the back. It's been invaluable to me when doing these mods because it saves a lot of time and it works really, really well. Especially back here on these decals. These things, if you've ever taken one of these off, they leave a real thin layer of almost rough adhesive behind them. And it's a real pain to get off unless you have Goo Gone. Goo Gone works really, really well. I can't stress that enough, how much easier it's made my life in the mods that I've done using that. So anyway, that's what I use the Goo Gone for. Now, I mentioned the trim tools. You know, if you're going to do anything on the interior, like the front-facing camera mod that I did, maybe changing out your radio, maybe adding some components to the radio, maybe something like the trim mod that I did where I painted this. Those trim tools come in very handy. You know, you don't want to stick a screwdriver down here and try to pry this thing off and mar up the surfaces around it, or even damage the ring itself that you're trying to make look better. Same thing with these trim pieces. You know, this whole piece here, this cover, the whole thing pops off. You just stick the trim tool behind it there, pop that off. Now, when I did the speakers in the Tacoma up here, of course I had to take the door molding, the door trim off. In doing that, you have to take off the controls that are on the door, some other bits and pieces, a couple little push pin things. Very, very handy in doing that. Same thing over here with the grill on the Tundra, and the Tacoma for that matter. There are some push pins underneath here that you need to remove, and the trim tool comes in handy just to get under those and pop them off. Back here in the cab, I'll show you real quick. This is the piece that I was talking about on the Tacoma side. That trim tool just fits right underneath here, and you can pop this whole piece off. Also helps to get these little doors off of here. I did that on the Tacoma when I put the carbon fiber inserts in these areas. I just pop that off, put them on, and then put it back in. A very, very handy tool to have. Now, oh, one more piece I'll show you. When I did the little trim piece here, this had SR5 on it. I just used a trim tool to get under the edge of that, and it popped right out. Didn't damage anything here. Certainly didn't damage the SR5 badge, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I still have in here somewhere. Right here. This is what I popped off. So you can see it's just held on by two little arms under there, so it's very easy to pop off with that trim tool. Now, the next thing that I'll mention that once again I have been a little lax in letting you guys know is double-sided tape. Double-sided tape today is certainly nothing like what it used to be. It holds so well that if you make a mistake, it's almost impossible to get off without leaving a residue wherever you've glued it to, which hopefully won't matter, because if you made a little mistake and you're just adjusting, you're going to go right back over it anyway, so who cares? But that stuff is amazing. Now, what I've used it for recently are the bumper caps. You know, the bumper caps come with a double-sided tape on them, but I have to be honest, that double-sided tape is fairly lacking in its in the way that it adheres. You know, it doesn't adhere real well. So this is where I decided to get my own, which I think I ended up using either the clear. They have a clear and they have, you know, just a black. I think I actually used the black. But what I had to do here, there is some double-sided tape that helps hold down, I believe it was the front part, if I remember, so that this thing stays nice and adhered, because there's only screws in one part of it. And this stuff works fantastically to do that. A little tip for you, and I have a video out on this, but if you're looking to do this mod, take the grill off. Take the grill off and then give yourself plenty of access under there so that you can use the double-sided tape to hold it down. Also, in the back, on the bumper caps in the rear, same thing back here. The screws are only in one part, and I believe the double-sided tape ran along here, if I'm not mistaken. But wherever it was certainly handy to be able to use the other product that I got, that I showed you up here on the table, the 3M double-sided tape, to be able to secure that down. This stuff is like concrete when you put it on. I mean, it holds like you wouldn't believe. So definitely something that you should have. If you're going to do anything where you need to stick anything on that you know, doesn't have a lot of pressure or anything against it. These are rated for different weights, downforce rates, or weights rather, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds, whatever. Obviously, these bumper caps don't weigh anywhere near that amount, so no problem holding those on. Now, one other thing I did just recently was the front-facing cam here on the front of the Tundra. And I wish I'd have thought of this when I did it on the Tacoma. Honestly, I didn't. It never crossed my mind until I got to the Tundra and was trying to figure out where I was going to put this. But what I decided to do was use double-sided tape. And again, I used the black tape for this because I didn't want anything clear, anything that would stand out. And I just put a thin, well, when I say thin, maybe quarter-inch strip of that tape on top of the camera, and then adhered it to this little nub right in the center, conveniently, underneath the sensor, or the Tundra, or Tacoma, or Toyota rather, logo, and it worked perfectly. It's been on there now for, I don't know, however long since I did the video, maybe a couple, 3 weeks, in the what usually is hot sun in Texas here, and no issues. It hasn't come loose, it hasn't moved. It is on there very, very well. It isn't going to go anywhere, and I would certainly recommend that, especially if you're going to do this mod and you're looking for a way to mount that camera. It's perfect. And the good thing is, if anything did happen, this is wired, so all it's going to do is fall behind the grill. It's not going to go flying off the truck or anything. So pretty darn cool. One other place I'll mention, the double-sided tapes. You know, in a lot of the stuff that you get, especially things like these cup holders that I have here, or rather down here, these little cup holder pads or foam inserts, they're held on by double-sided tape. They're not going anywhere, and it is fantastic to be able to put these in and not have to worry about them slipping and sliding around. These vent rings, of course, they're double-sided taped as well. So my point is, is that double-sided tape is used in many, many applications by tons of different vendors and manufacturers. Today's double-sided tape is awesome. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, talk about that a little bit. I'll have links down below in this video for these products, so if you guys want to pick them up or whatever, you can. Again, I get a lot of flack that I never give out any part numbers or links. Well, here you go, and I'm going to try to get better at that and start doing that on all the videos. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button if you haven't before. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.